So coming to the very first question from our side, which is Photowalk side, is the definition of street photography, because everyone has a different definition. So we need to have some common ground to get started. So I will let Vineet
All right.
put a perspective to what street photography is
You
exactly.
know, this is the most difficult question to ask a street photographer. How do you define street photography? Because, you know, so the best possible way in my school of thought, if I can simplify this question and if I simplify the answer at the same time, anything which is temporary, anything which is more about you is street photography. It is more about the approach and not the location. It is how in that particular moment the viewer can see what happened before and what might happen after this. um, I also feel that street photography is about a lie that lies behind the truth. So if we are looking at the truth which is unfolding in front of us, we pick up that moment which is a lie and we show the world a story, and it has a subjective interpretation, and anybody can define or maybe understand the image in their own particular way. So street photography is also not what you see, it is what you want to show. So simply put, temporary, it is basically a temporary arrangement of lines, forms, tones, textures, and composition. I also feel the temporary arrangement of, if it's a temporary arrangement of light, also it can be street. It has to be in public spaces. And the most important thing, which I haven't mentioned till now, it has to be candid. That
That's a
is
very good
the
way to put it.
most,
But Vineet,
that
just to pick that line,
hmm,
you said it has to be in public spaces. Is it really necessary to be in
right.
public space?
It photography is a very new genre in per se, and street photography is even newer, and the definition keeps changing. There is also a group of photographers who think that if it's candid, it is street, even if it's in your home or even if it's in a library, or if it's in a playground, or let's say in a dark room or in any room scenario. Uh, I feel that public space is very, very important in a way, because then there has to be a certain ground where all the photographers can come onto one particular answer, that okay, it has to be a public space. I personally feel, but if it's candid, more or less it's street. So don't get into really whether it's space. So street, I would say, it is not about the location; it is about the approach. So let's not get into that
Yeah,
location part.
it can get quite subjective also, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, it could. It is very subjective. So it is. I'm actually working on a book where I feel, and I'm also writing a piece in that where I feel that street photography is nothing but you. So a person, a photographer defines, the author decides what is street photography to them. So that is street photography.
Understood. And I think you're working on a book. Speaking of book, so when is it like expected?
So I'm working on 4 books actually right now. This is the first time I'm telling.
Hmm.
Uh, but the whole thing is that I promised my wife that this book is going to be a gift to my son when he turns 18. So I'm putting everything on hold. There's
Okay.
another 3 years which you have to wait on,
Okay.
but the
Okay.
books are definitely on their way. So
Okay.
just to make it special for my son, because I always feel that uh, photography or no photography, your son should be proud of you, and that's why I'm doing this.
Okay. Okay. We had a question which came in
All
late.
booked in advance.
Thank you so much, Sri. Was that
So,
Sri?
Yes, yes, yes.
See, I recognize your voice.
Who
uh,
else will book? It's first time on air you're saying that. So on air I'm saying all booked in advance.
Thank
books
you,
are
Sri.
booked in
Really
advance.
appreciate.
Just to come to the same question, because we are in the segment of books right
Hmm.
now. This question came
Right.
later on, so I couldn't include it in the
Hmm.
slide. It
Right.
came from
Right.
one of the person who is here right now, Daisy. Daisy, you're here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, you had a question, right, about the book?
Yes, I just saw it.
Hi, Daisy.
Hi, good evening, sir.
Good
I
evening.
I just saw that you posted it in your Instagram account. It's like on the Leica.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
and
it's
it's
on.
supposed to be published this March.
Yeah, it was so that book is not like my individual book. I
Uh,
have I have few pages in that book. So they Leica is making a book of like Hall of Fame where they also printing my picture and putting in Leica Wetzlar, their uh, I would say their home ground in Germany, and so it is not exactly the whole book is on me. So there are different photographers, and they're about I think 12 photographers with certain pages, or 12 to 18 photographers where their best of work, their shot on Leica is there in that book.
Okay.
So that
nice.
is there.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Okay. Going to the very first questions that were compiled. This is from Richa. Richa, you're here, right? Please unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah. Can you just
Hi, Richa.
Hi,
read
Vineet.
out your question, please?
My question, I'm looking on the mobile.
It's right on the
Okay.
screen. It's right on the screen.
Yeah. So my question was revolving around this, the planning and the spontaneity bit. So a lot of, as you mentioned, street photography would be candid and very spontaneous, but there must be certain level of planning that goes into it. So what kind of planning do you do in advance to anticipate the perfect spontaneous picture? And it could be like around,
So
yeah.
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so it could be around the place or the way you manage your camera or the kind of lens would you be using or your own posture or certain hooks you would find in that context. So what amount of anticipation we should already be prepared with?
All right. I will answer that. But to actually tell you what all goes behind that in one shot is in that one particular moment, you have to uh, breathe every emotion you've felt, every kid you've played with, or every animal you've felt around. That is one aspect of it. You have to look inside your heart also at the same time to press the shutter. That is another. But what you're asking about the literal and the physical aspect to it, obviously I have certain presets on my camera that I always shoot on f13 to f16, in between f13 and f16. My shutter speed is always not less than 1 by 250. And also, what else? The ISO has to be 800 in bright sunlight also, so that I can just be as quick as possible. I when you shoot very often, or when you're shooting very a lot of times, then I shoot for about 2 hours in a day every day. I feel what happens is that composition becomes your second nature, and you start seeing things in a certain fashion. uh, when you start composing pictures without the camera in your hand, that is how this becomes your second nature. So planning and spontaneity is also when you visit. So there are a lot of times when you visit a place for the first time, you have no idea how situation can turn in simple seconds or milliseconds. You have to adapt to the situation, and that can only come when you're in the boxing ground for a long time. That you when you practice. So practice is the key. Keep practicing, and it is just very easy to make frames. I hope I answered you, or if there's anything in particular you want to ask, please feel free to ask.
So yeah, you largely talked about camera setting in places. If I look at your pictures primarily, it's a lot about certain hooks you follow. Like you would go to bus stand, or you would follow patterns,
Richa,
or there are like,
Richa, those questions will come up later.
all right, okay,
Yeah?
all right.
Yeah.
This is largely answered. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. In case you want to know, I would just add on about spontaneity. It is very intuitive. I feel that if we all of us go to a certain place, we will all find compositions in a different way. We'll see different things at the same place. So go with your gut feeling, and you will find frames.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, most welcome.
Going to the next question we have from Bharat. So Bharatji, please, can you unmute yourself?
Hello, Vineet ji.
Hello, Bharatji. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. My question is, I'm seeing your pictures from Kumbh Mela, then bus
Mm,
stops, then
mm,
markets,
mm.
so and all candid moments. So how
Right.
you keep yourself invisible while taking
Mhm.
this picture?
So I've prepared this, a syrup which you drink 2 spoons and you'll get invisible very soon. All right, jokes apart.
Yeah,
All you have to do is, just be as hidden in the crowd as you can be. Uh, just don't wear flashy clothes. That is one thing, and carry a small camera. Once we have big bazookas with 70-200, then it becomes a problem, and people will notice you. I would say don't enter a frame with holding a camera in your hand. When you feel the moment is unfolding, I also feel that when we enter a situation, we feel whether the moment is pregnant or not. So when you feel the moment is pregnant, stand around, and when it's about to deliver, then pick up the camera and take shots. In any situation, you'll probably get 3 to 4 shots. Once you get those 4 shots, you have to make the most of it. uh, I don't shoot on continuous mode, because I feel if you shoot on continuous mode, it is as good as making a movie, going back home, picking up the right moment where it peaked and take a shot out of it. Because today videos, you can get 4K or HD videos where the images are as good as anything which you would like. So the best way to be invisible is don't pick up the camera when you are seeing something in front of you. Pick up the camera only when you feel that the moment is about to deliver, and you'll be as invisible as anybody.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving
Thank
to
you,
the
Bharat.
next question from Anand. Anandji,
Mhm.
can you unmute yourself? Okay. Don't seem to having here.
All
So
right.
his question was, how do you deal with confrontations? Like in streets, there may be chances of confrontations. There may be people who
Oh,
will
yeah.
say, delete your picture.
Hi, sorry,
See
I'm
the.
here.
Okay. Anand
Hi,
is here.
Anand. All right.
So Vinitsa, my question is, when you have many confrontations coming in, so how do you really deal with them? One of
All
the things
right.
was like when you move with a big bazooka like camera, you might get challenged by people.
Yeah. So, I would come to the camera part after this. The worst experience I've had is that I was arrested in Brussels, where I was shooting in the public. That is the worst thing. Um, but when you show your work, or when you tell them that this is what you do, or you show this kind of shots which you've done on your camera, then they're okay about it. Now, there are also people who will say, delete my shot. uh, I I shoot with a camera which doesn't have a LCD, so I'm safeguarded on that way, because I'll say that this is a film camera and I didn't take a picture of you. Now, when that doesn't work, when somebody says delete my picture, it is always delete their picture. So you have to respect somebody on the street. If you have to believe that if these are the same streets where your own parents are walking, or your own family is walking, and somebody takes a picture of them, and if they feel that if they want to get that picture deleted, and if they tell them that please delete my picture, they should delete the picture. uh, I The most important thing which you should do is smile. It takes you a long way, because I have never seen, if you're smiling, somebody is going to punch on your face. So smile, carry a small camera. I'll keep saying that. I'm not trying to sell Leica here, but I'm just saying, please carry a small camera, because they feel that the person who can't even afford a good camera, how is he going to make a picture of me? Because the big cameras, what makes them feel is that this image is going to be on the newspaper tomorrow. So just be careful about that. And confrontations, if you're talking about, if somebody tells you to delete the picture, delete it right then and there. It's not coming on the Nat Geo cover anyways.
Thank you.
All right. So the next question is from Ayush.
Mm-hmm.
Ayush?
Hi, hey Vineet.
Hi, Ayush.
Yeah, so yeah, of course, I've seen you in action like 3-4 weeks back in Holi as well. And there was especially the shot of the three women in yellow dress in Nandgaon, and I saw you taking that shot there. So the question was, is there something which you ask yourself just before you press that button? Like, why am I going to take this shot? Or like, what am I going to do with this shot or something like that?
See, why is very, very important in my mind before I press the shutter. It's always a question, why am I taking that shot? Now, I totally understand the shot you're saying, but if we talk about that shot right now, it'll be very hypothetical for everybody else, that what shot you're talking about.
Yeah, not a problem,
Yeah.
just in general.
So, yeah, so why is, see, I feel that there has to be a narrative behind the shot. In today's world, I want everybody to think in their mind that photography is the most widely spoken language today. It's the most read and misread also at the same time. So for me, it's a dialogue. When I see some moment unfolding in front of me, or when I'm taking a picture, I'm having a dialogue with my own self. And when I feel that the dialogue is good enough that I can present this dialogue to a certain amount of people or audience per se, if you say, then I take the picture. But also, at the same time, when I go back and look at my images, what I'll say is edit. I also want to elaborate on the edit part a little bit, that processing is Photoshop. Edit is when there are shots which you've taken, and edit is more, it's about selecting the shot. So edit is very important. When I come back and I see whether that dialogue which I felt in that particular time if I'm able to convey that dialogue or not. And if I'm not able to convey that dialogue, I don't share that picture. I don't feel that dialogue is good enough. But at the same time, I falter also at times where I feel that I was able to convey a dialogue and it is not read in that way. So I try to maintain that marriage of sorts, that I am able to perceive that instantly what is unfolding in front of me and what I want to show in that particular moment. I'll feel that, okay, so there is like this shot which is there. I didn't start the shot with the guy in the foreground. I started the shot with two guys on the bus and the guy with the red. Now, when those three elements were working on, it was more or less a shot, but it wasn't making me come into the frame, or it wasn't making the viewer enter the frame. So closeness was very important. So I heard, the first question was also that people see me a lot against the buses. This is the bus stop which I've been shooting from past 8 to 9 years now. I go to this place every day, 7:45 to 8:45. This last month I have not been going, but from 9 years I've been going to this place very religiously, very attached to this place, and I shoot here. So I'm actually having a dialogue with this place also at the same time. I'm also documenting and coming back to your question of why I press the shutter. It's only about that dialogue which I have in that particular moment of time, or what is unfolding in front of me.
Okay, thanks a lot.
I hope I answered.
Yes, definitely.
All right.
Thank you. The next question is from Christine. Christine, can you come in?
Do you hear me?
Hi,
All
Christine.
good.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, hello. Vineet, first of all, I want to thank you for all your photos and all your work, and I will tell you why. When I visit your Instagram, most of your photos put a smile on my face, and I'm sure they put the smiles on, I think, a lot of people's faces. Somehow they're very positive, and somehow when I need just to relax or just to smile or just to feel something positive, I just open your Instagram account.
Thank you so much, Christine.
I forgot.
It's definitely.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And my question is, what is the longest period you wait for a particular shot? For example, you see the scene and you know that you want to take this shot in a particular way. What is the longest period you wait for the shot to take the shot you want?
Okay. Thank you so much for kind words, firstly. And
No, it's
to begin with, thank you. So realistically, I'll probably wait for a shot from 10 to 15 minutes at one place. But if there is something which I really like, I have waited for a shot for certain days. I keep visiting that place again and again. So that is how I work. If it is something which I feel is, I want to make a shot right now, which is in front of me, I'll wait for 10, 15 minutes. I'm a very restless person. And if it doesn't happen, I'll move on to the next, because, in India, we are almost about 130 million people. So if one doesn't happen, something else will work out. But there's this particular shot. I think I'll send it to Subodh after this conversation, and I'll show it to him. That particular shot, I've been moving, or I actually went to that place for 11 days just to get that particular shot. So 11 days for 10, 15 minutes each, I was there. And I think it's on the 11th day I got a shot, and I was happy to get that shot. But otherwise, my suggestion to all of you would be just wait for, if you feel that something is going to happen, please believe in your gut that it is going to happen, and it will happen. So even if it takes half hour, 1 hour, just be there.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
Moving to the next one. This is from Pradeep and Richa. Both of them asked the same question. Richa, can you just elaborate? Richa, can you come in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, Richa.
Hi. So this was more about how do you keep your inspiration alive? You also must be looking up to somebody, and where do you derive your entire inspiration from? And not just photography, it could be any area, like it could be any art form. It could be just about anything. Yeah.
Got it. If I'll tell you in one word, will you believe me?
Of course.
All right. I look up to my wife every day, and that she inspires me every day.
Wow.
I'll make sure she listens to this part.
All right. Okay. Because, she's, it's always, a happy mind will make you make happy pictures. It's not about photographs. It's about a happy mind, because you will see happy pictures. You will see it's about the baggage you carry. All of us, we have different baggages, and we make pictures according to our baggages. Our pictures reflect a lot about us. So so there have been times when I've been down and out, and she supported me. For any person to be a good street photographer, you need firstly good pair of walking shoes, and secondly a good wife. If you miss out on any of these, then it's very difficult.
What about me?
So what happens to the singles?
Yeah.
I'll make sure that she's not listening to you this part. Now my wife doesn't listen to this part. Singles can make better pictures too. You find inspiration everywhere. Then I just find inspiration at home. You guys can go anywhere and find inspiration. It's even more easier. Inspiration. So inspiration, you don't have to look for inspiration. Inspiration finds you.
Okay. Just to extend the question, any music that inspires you?
I love Sufi music a lot. So but it's not that when I'm, my senses are very, very weak. If I'm making pictures, then I'm only making pictures. When I'm listening to music, I'm only listening to music. Right. I can never combine two things.
Okay. And any books that you, and I mean, we are talking about photography. It could be other books also.
I like reading a lot of, autobiographies. I like to read about, actually, I like to read more about artists, their lives, and how they, I feel that photography is just an extension of painting. So I like to read about painters, why they did it and how they did it, and apply it in photography.
Okay, great. Okay, moving to the next one. This is from Sabish. Sabish, can you come in?
Hi. Hi, Vineet.
Hi, Sabish. How are you?
Nice to see you, Vineet.
Same here, buddy.
He's supposed to meet you in last Haldi Fest with Subodh, but you couldn't happen.
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
Yeah.
Inshallah,
Sorry.
soon we'll see it. Yeah. My kids are playing here. They maybe accidentally they will also ask some question. Don't answer that.
I will try my best to answer that.
See, actually, what I see in your work, you know, most of the work, or you know, some of the work which I see, you know, recently, it's by connecting something to something. Like, you know, head of some is connecting to the animal body or something like that. No, so you purposely, you know, wait for that moment to happen, or you chase for that, or something like that.
It's become my second nature. You know, I don't plan something. If I see something, I go with the visual clues. If I find some visual clue happening in front of me, I'll just go with that. There's nothing intentionally planned. I'll go with the flow. And it's not that I do all sorts of, you know, I do layering also. I see content also. And if I see juxta, then I work with juxta. So it's whatever is happening. It's like, if I'm going to the market, if I want to have apples that day, I'll have apples. But if I see oranges that day, then I'll pick up oranges. It's
okay.
Yeah, there's no fixed rule.
All right. So you're not
also,
decided to. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I haven't. I've also, you know, there's a lot of days when you are in certain moods, when there's work pressure or there's something which you have to do. Then you find humor in everything, and sometimes you find sadness in everything. It's just extension of you, nothing else.
That's correct. Anyway, thank you. That's it.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Moving to the next question. It's from Anuradha. Anuradha, can you come in? Anu? Okay, I think she didn't join.
Hello.
Yeah, there she is.
Hello.
Hi, Anuradha.
Hi, Vineet. How are you?
Very well, Anuradha.
Thank you. Okay, so what's more important? How you frame the moment or just the moment? I mean, see, sometimes when I'm out there, the moment is there, the frame is there, and I'm thinking of combining, the moment is gone, totally gone. So what do I do then?
Leave it. The images you don't take, they never happen. Don't get emotionally attached to the pictures you don't take. You know, the key point is to enjoy the moment which is happening in front of you. Making a picture, I think, you know, some kids, they start writing by the age of 3, some 4, some 5. Everybody will eventually write. Don't worry about that. What is more important is that you witness the moment. Witnessing is very important. And photographer's job is witness, is not a judge. When you make a picture, then you've already made a judgment. Witnessing is more important. So witness it.
Just to go to the same question, I think our question really was about getting a moment.
Composition.
But composition being bad is okay, or is it just about having everything perfect?
Yeah, because that's what I understood. But when she asked, it was something else. I feel if it's composition versus content, I feel there's certain things where composition will be a little bit more heavy. But if you feel that the content is right there, you have to make the best use of composition in that particular moment. That is very important to make the most in that particular moment. But if you'll ask me honestly, I would feel that composition takes 60% and content will take 40% for me.
Okay.
I'm more biased towards composition a little bit.
Okay. Because yesterday we had Brian Peterson with us, and he said in his session, which is very good way to put it, which was light against composition. And he said bad light is still okay with a good composition. Because always composition is the heavy
composition. Composition is the king always.
King,
Because you know, if there's something which we can see, which is more aesthetically pleasing, we will look at it rather than an ugly picture with a bad composition. We will not look at that picture.
In my usually in my slides when I do workshops, I put a line which says composition is the king, light is the queen, and you are the soldier.
Right. That makes sense. Absolutely. I'll keep that in mind.
So moving on to the next one.
Yep.
This is from Karthi. Karthi, can you come in?
Hey, hi Vineet, how are you?
And Karthi, before
Very
you
well.
ask anything else, I want to first of all, because he sent me a long write-up on this particular picture. First, Karthi, can you go through this picture and what it did to you, and then talk about the question?
Yes. Hey, hi Vineet. First of all, how are you?
Very well, Karthik. Thank you.
Okay. First of all, Vineet, thanks a lot for keeping my passion alive, because it has been hardly 2 years since I touched my camera due to several reasons. But still, as Christian told, you're one of the reasons. Whenever I feel down, I go to Instagram post, I see all your pictures, I feel kicked up again.
Thank
Kind
you
of
so
caffeine
much.
for me.
It's very,
Okay.
very kind of
So
you.
Vineet,
Yeah.
I think I know you from 2014, I guess. So first time, I saw your picture on Facebook. This is the first picture on Facebook. 2014 was the time, when I brought my camera.
Right.
So when I first saw this picture, it was a complete chaos for me. Sorry if I'm getting too, if I'm hurting your thing. So
not
it was
at all.
complete chaos for me, because I was an amateur. So I just bought a camera. I used to see all these beautiful portraits, landscapes, or my aesthetically pleasing pictures. So I came across this picture. So it was
Right.
I was wondering about this picture, what's going on here? And then I felt it's just chaos. And then I saw the comment boxes, where the photographers whom I used to look upon that time, they were it was going berserk. People are saying, oh, it's amazing, its composition is great. So
Okay.
this picture, actually then my course changed. I started looking upon you, Sri, there's a lot of street photographers. I took up on street photography. Now I'm just doing street photography only. And this picture changed my perspective on street photography completely, because it's not what I saw initially. It's not about shooting beggars on the street. It's not about shooting something stagnant on the streets. That's all about life. It's all about seeing the beauty or rhythm on the chaos. So it's so I can, what I told to Subodh was I can still listen to this picture. This is such a beauty which you see in the chaos. So
Okay. Yeah. This is one of the earlier images which I'm very fond of this image too, and
I love this picture. This is absolute beauty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Vineet, my question here is okay, there is a chaos. If you go in a scene, there's a chaos. How do you approach it? So what runs in your mind when you see a chaotic scene?
ABC. ABC runs in my mind. A is the aesthetics, B is the background, and C is the composition. So that is how I work around it. I try to, but this particular frame, it defines everything is wrong in this picture, but the moment works. The heads are overlapping with the person, the fingers are cut, but it is also, I felt that my eye is staying in this frame, and also I somehow connect to this image. I find myself in the picture, and that is also a reason why this image has been liked by a lot of people, that they find themselves in the picture, be it a guy or a girl. So it is a joy and it is the it's in order, at the same time it's not orderly. So that is what I particularly try to do. So simply put, ABC. Always whenever you get into the scene, maintain the aesthetics, which is very important. Background is, find the background. If the background is cluttered, then it will never make a picture. And then compose it. You will have a good picture.
Thanks a lot, Vineet. And one more question is okay, you're working on a scene, and how do you convince yourself that you got the money shot?
I will never find that money shot when I'm taking it, right? Even if I have that money shot, I know it, I will still take another 2 shots. So whenever you feel you have a shot, press the shutter, even maybe twice after that. Take another 2 shots of that scene when you feel that you have a shot.
Thanks a lot, Vineet.
You're most welcome.
This could be this picture could be used as a poster right now for social distancing. It's perfect.
All right, let's do that.
Moving on to the next question. This is from Preeti. Preeti, can you come in?
Hi, Subodh. Hi, Vineet.
Hi, Preeti. How are you?
Very well, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I can read the line. Do you ever stage your pictures? No, I never do, because if I had to, then I would have been doing product photography.
So to ask that again, I saw one of the photos where there's a man with a phone in his hand. There's a polythene which is a couple looking at the phone. Then there's a half a dog on the left, half a dog on the right. Was all of that also not staged or you waited for the moment and things to...
Everything is candid. So what whenever you'll attend any of the workshops, then I also show behind the scenes what happened before the shot and what happened after the shot. So there's an entire contact sheet because if as a photographer, especially a street photographer, is like writing a novel. So my viewer has to know whether I'm telling the fact or I'm telling the fiction. If I had to be staging shots, then I would not call myself a street photographer. I would be happy calling myself a photographer. So it is not in my ethics to stage a shot. And and people who've learned from me, they'll tell you that I literally scream at them when I see them doing something silly. I don't. And I suggest that if you want to take street photography seriously, don't stage.
Okay. And the photo that Ayush was talking about, where you have 3 people in the madness and the chaos of Nandgaon, would you ask somebody to turn their head and say, just look here for 1 second? Would you do that?
Never. Then I'm telling them, then I'm creating a scene. Then it's just like when the sky is not enough blue or red, then I use Photoshop to make it blue or red. I would never do that. I would rather not take that shot. There's plenty of shots to take.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Thank you. Moving to the next one. Ruth, are you here? This question came from 2 of them, Ruth and Srijit.
Hi.
Hi, Ruth. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well.
She is speaking all the way from Spain.
Oh,
from the hot Spain. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here in Barcelona.
Wow. Please take good care of you.
Yeah, I'm all right. Just locked down since forever. So my question here is, like, I think it was almost quite asked already, but like, suppose like, do you wait like for the perfect timing? Like, for example, do you see the tree and then wait for this bull to come in, or like how, or you notice the bull and then I don't know, how do you do that? Like,
so there at times there could be the bull's horn, which I want to connect it with something, and I find the tree. Oh, there is tree, and then I find the bull. But at the same time, I would say that there are at least 100,000 shots which never worked for me. So the shots which worked, I'm showing them to you, and you feel that, oh, it's so easy, and I find it every time. But the whole thing that goes behind the shots, I feel my failures are more important to me than my success, because they taught me to come into the scenario where I try to see scenes much easier. So I feel it's more of instinct and intuitive knowledge that I connected. It's just becoming second nature.
all right. Okay, that's great.
Thanks,
you. Ruth.
Okay, thank you.
Bye, Ruth. Take care, please.
Yeah, sure. You too.
Please mute. Too many roommates you have. Okay. Next one is again from Anu. Anu, can you come in? I think Anu has been one of your students. That's why she has this question.
All right.
Okay. Do I have to read it out, Vineet? Or?
No, I've read it. Okay. And rather, if you've been my student, and of course you've been my student, I always say a few things in my class, that a workshop is never like a competition. Secondly, I always ask my students that, do they want me to be brutally honest, or you want me to sugarcoat the replies? Now, what happens is, see, I can always sugarcoat my things, and I never critique the image. I always say that I'm reviewing the image. So review should not be taken personally. It is not something that one has to feel that it is on me. It is about the picture. Please understand that the picture only belongs to the photographer till the time he has taken it. Once it's out in front of anybody else, then it belongs to the viewer. So I'm also preparing anybody who's getting into this scenario of street photography or photography. I'm also preparing them that they might get harsh comments from people. So don't worry about that. And also at the same time, it's my job to tell you honestly that this works and this doesn't work. But if If you feel that it has to be sugar coated, then I will definitely repeat this twice next time when I'm reviewing the pictures. That make up your mind. Do you want me to sugar coat or not? But please don't. Anybody who's listening or wants to take review, please don't think that way. That don't take it personally. Reviews are not personal. It is only about the pictures. It is only going to make you stronger in it. It is, we should also learn that our parents always used to complain us about that, don't do this and don't do that. And at that particular time, we used to feel that, oh, they don't know anything and we know the best. But trust me, when we are this age, we feel that once we become parents, then we feel that, oh, they were always right. So please understand then when you will, graduate to a certain next stage, then you will understand that, yes, this was very, very important to me. And this is a big learning curve, which will help you. I'm just being honest to photography. And I think end of the day, photography has to be winner rather than a photographer or you and me. If photography is a winner, all of us are winner. I hope I answered that.
Yeah,
you're most
thank
welcome.
you.
Just to,
want to
please.
add my line, because I remember coming for your workshop, and after the workshop you asked, like, while reviewing the pictures, do you want me to be honest or do you want me to be nice? So I asked you to be honest, and you were very brutal with me. But I was in a shock, I was in a depression, because I really thought I knew something about photography, and I was like, I started thinking, do I really know anything? But that sort of helped me out, because I started re-looking at how I look at things and how I do things, and which really helped me out. So I think it was really, really helpful for me that you were very brutally honest with me. But yes, like she said, you always ask first, how do you want the answers to be? So if a person cannot take the honesty, they can only say, yeah, be nice to me.
So I can be nice. So that's what I'm saying. We should not be taking reviews personally. When we are driving the car, do we take the accelerator or clutch or gears personally? No, it is just the car. It's an instrument, and it's the road which we are driving. So my work is to show you the path. So please understand that I showed the path to you. I will also tell you not to step on stones. And if you step on stone, I'll tell you that I told you not to step on stones. So there is no harm in my, that's my school of thought. I'm probably I've learned things like that I'm not saying that I've been screamed upon. I don't scream, but I tell you the truth. Please believe me, in longer run, it's really going to help you. It's really going to help you, because you will know that this is, when you touch fire, it's going to burn, and you won't burn hands again. Don't worry about that. On a lighter note, just enjoy the process of making pictures. Don't worry about who somebody else says. Believe in yourself, and you will be doing right things.
See, also there is enough sugar coating happening on social media like Instagram and whatever. So in workshops, let us reserve the critics to be harsh.
Reviews. I would say reviews. The minute you say critique, it becomes a negative word instantly.
Okay, that's again how you take it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving to the next question. This is from Kirti.
All right.
Kirti, jump in.
Hi, Vineet.
Hi, Kirti. How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
So I know the question of juxta came before as well, but
right.
I've observed this in a lot of your pictures. How does one begin to see juxta? Like, do you observe other images? How do you train your eye to see it intuitively and intuitively?
It's more of intuitive. I've been so that's what when I started shooting, then I was shooting something else. I evolved to something else, and I feel if this is also maybe very temporary, maybe tomorrow I'm doing something else. I'm seeing something which is more connecting right now, be it colors, be it forms, be it heads, or this stupid head replacement therapy also. I feel after that, especially that cow with the tree and these head replacement therapies, if the whole Instagram or the Facebook just got fully loaded with these things, then I'm trying something else now. Or maybe who knows, maybe I'm not even doing photography in 2 years. I'm doing painting or sculpture. So it is right now I'm seeing things like that. I'm not training myself to do something like this. I'm probably evolved to this, and I might evolve to something else. That is what I'm doing. So there's no particular thing or reason that I'm doing this.
Yeah, and I also feel like this kind of photography does help a viewer to stay in the image for a few seconds, which is why, like, whenever I look at a picture, I'm staring at it at least for a good minute, trying to understand what's going on here. So
all right, so that means my purpose is solved. So I'm basically trying to fool the viewer and make them look into
So
nice.
I just got a question on WhatsApp. Who joined late? Who couldn't send the question? Anand, can you come in? Anand?
So suppose I did ask my question.
You did ask?
Yes.
Not you, not you. There's another Anand. There's another Anand.
Okay.
Okay.
His question is, have you ever come across a creative block?
Yeah, it does happen. Whenever you feel that way, leave the camera for some time, breathe. I think whenever we are looking for one particular red or something, I read this somewhere. Don't miss out on the reds when you're looking for a rainbow. So whenever there is something which you like, enjoy that. If I felt there's a block, I've left photography for 2 weeks, and I maybe read books, watch movies, or just spend time just doing something else. So I do that. Go to museums. I feel that going to museums really help.
Okay, the question was from Anil actually, not Anand. He just corrected me.
All right. Okay, so both my battery is really dying. There is a last question, I believe, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so let's just do it very quick.
Yeah. Coming to the ethics, this is from Richa. So what are the sensitivities one should consider when on streets, given it's always spontaneous and one does not seek permission?
Right. Richa, I hear you. If there's anything you want to elaborate on it, please come on.
Can you just put it on charge?
Yeah.
All right. So Richa, ethics is something, okay, let me just see if I can just put the charger, okay?
Yeah, please.
1 second. Yeah, 1 second.
We'll wait for an hour. Just make sure it's charged.
All right. Okay. The wire is not going to come there. Let me just see the extension. Yeah, 1 second.
Almost, please mute.
Okay, let me just.
You guys got the
I'm
message?
trying to do.
Guys, please mute your audio.
Okay, let me just. I hope it's charging. All right.
We really hope.
Yeah.
It is?
Okay. Let me just see. I can't even see whether it's charging or not. But if it goes off, then I'll make sure. I think it should work. All right. Okay. Ethics. Now, Richard, ethics is something which a photographer decides for himself. Like, I would never shoot pregnant women. But that is just my ethics. I would not shoot beggars. I would not shoot people on the streets who are just lying down and, people basically begging. I don't like. I don't want to promote poverty. And also permission. I feel if it's a public space, the place belongs to you as much as the place belongs to them. And also if they tell you that, please remove the picture or delete the picture, please feel free or please delete the picture.
Guys, please mute your audio. Others? Did we just lose Vineet?
Did you?
No, here. All good.
Yeah. Richard,
so you did talk about your personal ethics also. So for example, you talked about the fact that you would never stage a shot. That was, that was one bit when your personal ethics comes into play. And then of course, shot related. Sometimes when I see some gory pictures, I really feel that, oh, why is it there on internet? So there, as you say, it's all subjective and on to a person, what they take and not take, right?
Right. So, but at the same time, I also will not take a gory picture. But this is how we do it for ourselves. It is not about, somebody else. Photography, so it is about the dialogue which you want to communicate. So I would not communicate in that kind of language. It is a language for me. So today, if you know certain languages, photography is a language which everybody understands. Even a kid will understand. He will look at the picture and he will understand. So I don't want to create a language or an image which is not okay with somebody. I would not show women in a very I would say I would not show women in certain fashion. If it like when you go for Kumbh, even if you don't want it, you might get women changing in your shot. I would never post it. I would never show them in a downgrade kind of a thing. But these are so ethics are something which a photographer decides for themselves. It is just your conditioning, I would say. It is your how you rule the world, I would say.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Next is from Ayush. What's one thing that you wish you knew when you began photography?
Hey Vineet, once again. Yeah.
Ayush, one thing which I knew
Yeah.
that it's a very expensive hobby. When when I started the photography, it was only on film. It was taking all my pocket money, man.
Okay.
But with time, it's eased out. You can collect so much of digital garbage and not complain about it. But one thing I feel, if you want to talk about more of philosophical aspect of it, I would say that I would have if I wish I felt a lot of emotions during the time when I started out shooting. I understand emotions better now than that time.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's also, can you describe the moments or transition?
Ayush, can you mute?
Music.
Yeah. Second question is there a moment or a transition where you decided to be a street photographer? I know that you used to do wildlife before. So how did the transition happen?
So transition, when I was shooting wildlife, I was trying to get a lot of, animals in social distancing, if I would say. I wanted not only the tiger, I also wanted a zebra or a giraffe in my picture. I wanted all sorts of animals in my picture where I wanted, for me, it's about coexistence. And while I was doing wildlife photography also, I wanted coexistence of different animals in my frame. But, it was not accepted. I used to take my work or maybe wanted to sell my work and they would say, no, I wanted the eye of the tiger. And I could not, I failed miserably. And then I moved to fashion also. I did fashion photography and I felt, it was like 9 to 5 job. There was only one particular lighting scenario I had to work with. And I personally felt, I mean, I'm not saying that people who are doing fashion, they're not creative. I felt I had a creative block and I could not do creative in that. And when I moved to street, everything was a playground. I had no control over the light. I had no control of people. I had no control of the stage or the backgrounds. And I felt a lot of freedom and I could shoot at any time. So this is how I felt. And this is how I moved from wildlife and then I moved to fashion and then I street photography. Also,
yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
My mentor, who was a sculptor, he taught me that life is like a block. If you want to add something, then take a piece of another block and add it. And if you don't like certain pieces, then chip it off. And similarly, I felt I could use it in street photography. The elements which I felt that could make up my frame, I would include them. And I felt these people were not a part of it, or maybe this element is not important, then I would get rid of it. For me, when I started doing street photography, I felt very liberated. It was a language which I was speaking. I was very shy initially. I never used to talk to people. So I felt that I could communicate with my pictures and I could share the moments.
All right. You're still doing wildlife in a sense because humans are the wildest.
The bigger wildlife.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Vineet.
So this question comes from Ayush and Preeti. which is about editing your images. Like, what is the process? What is the editing software? Is there a secret?
I still don't know how to use Lightroom, like we discussed. I'm good at darkroom, but not Lightroom. I use Photoshop. I use minimum processing. I just, I feel if you can't get it right in the first place, you can never get it right. Photography is not something that go back home and do it later. It should be done right then and there. Very little processing. I would say downgrade the size, just lower down the size, increase the sharpness, increase the saturation a little bit. That's it. To post on social media. But if you have to make prints, then you have to calibrate your monitor with the printer. Then you have to maybe cut down the highlights a little bit.
Okay.
Just very little processing.
Okay, cool. Moving to the next one. This is from, I can't see the name because my screen is a bit...
Preeti.
Preeti.
This is from Preeti.
Preeti, come in, please.
Yes. So I think, Vineet, you've already answered whether you take a model consent or not. You give your audience on the street that privacy that they want. I think I've already got an answer, but if you want to add anything to it, it'll be great.
Model, if model consent, I don't feel that I have to make something out of my pictures. I don't take pictures to use it commercially. Now, if there is any person, then there is a law which says that if it's printed in a book or if it's in the exhibition, then you're free to do it. It is not, you don't have to take permission for the book or exhibitions. But if it's used commercially, then you have to give credit to, or maybe you have to use a model release.
Or for photography competitions.
Or for I've never run for that, so I don't know. But when there is, so if there's a book like, or maybe magazine like Guardian or newspaper like Guardian or New York Times, if there are more than 5 people, then you don't need a model release. So I normally shoot when there are more than 5 people, so I don't need a model release.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it depends, again, sorry, just go back. If you know what you want to do with your picture, then if you feel that you want to use it commercially, then please take model release. But if you want to just use it as a note to yourself, then don't.
All right. Next question comes from Solomon and Srijit, or either of you, anyone of you here?
How does the outlook of a picture shot in a street vary in color and versus monochrome?
This one?
No. He's asking how does the outlook of a picture change, or the mood of a picture change with the monochrome versus color?
So Srijit, I don't see world in black and white, so I shoot in color. Firstly, secondly, there are certain images which I've made in monochrome, but they have been shot on a monochrome camera. I've never converted my image from color to black and white. Now, why I did that? It was totally out of, it was more of a challenge to my own self, because I was always making color images. And one of the photographers told me, a good friend of mine, he said that your images are relying heavily on color. So I kind of took up the challenge, and I shot the entire year on a monochrome camera, and I shot monochrome images. But after that, I felt that I don't see the world in black and white. But people who see the things, like answer yourself, any of the listeners, if you know what certain color would look in black and white, or what is the particular underlying emotion you want to convey, then it is up to you. This is the choice which the author makes about his images. There are a lot of times where photographers also put the same image in black and white and color. I would totally tell you that not to do that, because it shows that you are very indecisive about your own vision. So don't do that.
All right.
And if I'm right, you even shot Holi that year in monochrome.
Yes, I shot Holi on monochrome that year. Yeah, it's about 3 years back. But just because I felt that I wanted to. So any particular moment you see, it is about the underlying emotion which you want to convey. Whether you feel that this will be conveyed in monochrome or color. But I would also like to tell all of you out there that if you really want to see whether your image works or not, try all your images into monochrome and you'll know it instantly whether the image works or not. Just make it as a practice, even if you want to post in color. I still do it. Even if I'm posting a color image, I try to convert it into black and white first, and I see whether I see the clear figure to ground, or is it you're relying heavily on color, or is it just that sense of, at times when you look at an image which has a lot of red, you tend to look at that image more. So I convert every image into black and white first.
Okay. But see, if you're using a monochrome camera, then you're going out with the vision of monochrome. So
then
kind of your, what you look for, like emotion also changes along with that? Because color is very playful.
That. Yes, I felt that. I kind of felt low during the time when I was shooting monochrome. So I felt I'm just avoiding myself from happiness, which I used to see it in my world. Because color is something which I live with.
Yeah. Great. The next question is from Richa. Richa has a lot of questions. Is there a picture that you have? I think you already answered this question. Yeah, so it's cool. I'll skip this question. Next is from Bruce. Bruce, can you come in?
Hi, Vineet.
Hi, Bruce.
Earlier, there was a question where there was composition versus content. So, and you told that you will go with composition because that's your priority. Don't get me wrong. I just want to understand. In this image, I personally feel the aesthetic is compromised. So,
all right. Okay,
so,
Bruce. Let's start with this. How do you read this image? What are you looking at?
Just a bunch of swans in a clutter area.
All right, Bruce, I think you missed out the point of this image. You look at the 9 at the back. These are 9 ducks.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. And also, if you look at my pictures, I don't show, if you're talking about the dirt aspect of it, I don't really show, I never show that dirt aspect in my picture. It is also if you'll see ducks, there's no overlapping in the ducks. So it's temporary arrangement. Another thing which I want you to look at, if you see at the polythene bag on the extreme right of the duck, that also looks like a duck. So, at times reading the image is also very important. Do you see
maybe,
that?
Maybe this image could be falling under the category that you mentioned, that sometimes the images are not read in the way that you wanted audience to read, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And also at times, we are also not prepared to read the, when about 25 years back, I used to look at Mona Lisa, and I always used to feel that why is that painting so expensive? And I never used to understand Kandinsky's work of art. Why is he doing that? Or even a Picasso. But when you start understanding their life and you start reading about them, then you understand that why that work is particularly, they like that particular work, or when, and also you please, if there is, let's say, if there are about 500 shots in my life which I've shot, there could be shots which were, lacking in a certain way. I'm not trying to justify this shot in any way, but I'm just trying to explain what this shot meant to me. It was just, you look at the whole scene when it says gate number 9, and there are 9 ducks right in front of you temporarily. And even that polythene bag looked like a duck, and none of them overlapped. So it was nothing to do with the dirt at the bottom. Aesthetics is also, have you ever seen Dali's work?
No.
So Salvador Dali used to make gruesome paintings, and please try to look it up after we have this conversation. So there is also a different audience, and there's also thought process why that comes out. And I'm very humbly trying to request all of you that I'm not trying to justify this image. I'm just trying to tell you that reading elements is also very, very important. I would never, if you talk about this dirt being aesthetics, I would never compromise that. I would never use it. But aesthetically, if that image is pleasing to you, then I take it.
I think Vineet, just to add to this, I think something that you say every time, it is also because of attention deficit, because of Instagram and etc. First of all, we are looking at the picture in a small screen. We don't read the details, like the polythene. We don't look at that in Instagram. And also, we are busy scrolling through the pictures. Within 5 seconds, we are out. So we don't really read the pictures nowadays. That's the issue.
There's also, I want to tell all you guys that there were certain questions on Instagram, and there was some questions, but I made sure I told Subodh that let's have questions which are more related to photography rather than being on social media. I would request all of you to make prints out of your pictures to understand, there's certain details which you will miss in your own pictures. And once you will look through certain your images, you will be happy to notice those little details, because prints are something, eventually photographs are something which you hold in your hand. These, what we're looking at, are backlit images. So please don't look at backlit images, make prints, and you'll be happy looking at your own images.
Great.
Thank you, Vineet.
And to add to that,
yeah.
For example, Subodh said we stop an image like 2-3 seconds and we scroll. But when picture comes from Vineet Vohra, Sri Range and all, maybe initially you don't get it. But then I personally try to understand, okay, maybe something is hidden into it. Come on, let's discover more into it. I try to hunt and educate myself. Okay, why was this shot and what's the story behind it? I try to learn out of it. What was in the picture.
That's right.
That's very kind of you, Shamim, that you mentioned that. Thank you so much. But I also want to add on, it's because when we are talking about this thing, this is also very important. When we say that we scroll down, but that happens the same way in a gallery also. When we go into a gallery, we don't look at all the pictures, or maybe even we go to the museum, we don't look at all the artworks. We stand next to something which attracts us. And, when we go to that, that is where the composition comes into part. So I feel this image lacked in composition, worked in content, but lacked in composition. So it didn't do very well.
Yeah.
So just to add, that's also perspective of the viewer. No two humans would think alike. So to a mathematician, he would definitely look at and correlate with it.
Yeah, I agree.
But maybe an environmentalist will just look at where the ducks are.
Absolutely. Subjective interpretation. Absolutely.
Next, Preeti, since you're already there, it's your question.
Okay. So I heard, of course, that you manage all your shoots with Leica. Is it a preferred focal length that you work with?
I only shoot with 28mm. I've been shooting with 28mm from past 18 years and no other focal length. That is my focal length. The lenses are so expensive, you can't buy two lenses per se. Jokes apart, I feel when you shoot with one fixed focal length, it is also, it says a lot about you. It is your vision. So my vision is on 28mm.
Now that you used Leica, what about Nocta? Doesn't it add to something that you want to do with, or maybe night shots, same location?
My eyes stop seeing things in the night. I feel that my job starts from 7 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock, and my eyes need a break after that.
Just to add,
yeah.
What is the aperture of the lens?
My aperture starts with 5.6. I use a 28mm Sumaron. It's from 5.6 to 22.
Okay.
So the minimum focal, where people are really looking for Noctilux at 0.95, I'm looking at 5.6 as the minimum.
Okay.
So I prefer that. Because I only shoot at f13 to f16, so I prefer.
And now that we're talking about your gear, how long has it been that you've held another camera which is other than Leica?
I would say 5 years. I've used Fuji before that. But after, it's like when I held the baby in my hand, I didn't want to go back.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. Subodh, are you there? Hello?
And Subodh, I think
it's Subodh Gaur.
Yeah,
I think
Is
Subodh
it the
got
network?
disconnected.
I'm here, sorry.
All right.
Richa, can you come in?
I'm there. Yeah, your most favorite image. It could be yours or it could be from somebody else.
I haven't taken it yet.
Yeah, that was one of my question. Is there an image that that's there in your mind and you've conceptualized it?
I do definitely dream of images which I want to make, where I see dinosaurs and aeroplanes running everywhere and the fire in the sea. But that's only fantasy. I feel
I
all
think
my
we're getting
photographs
there.
are like my, yeah. Yeah, matter of time if things are working like this. I feel that all the photographs are like your own babies, and you like them all. But also in photography, street photography especially, learn how to kill your own babies. So some images which I like today, maybe they'll have no meaning tomorrow.
All right. So, that's all the questions that we had. But just a few more questions. Amit, can you come in? I think Amit had a question. No, his question is already answered. Just a minute. Chitra, you had a question.
Now Chitra also has a question. Very good. Go on, Chitra.
Hi, Vineet.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Vineet. The question is it's not a very technical question, but then the question is, so what is that question you think nobody has ever asked you as a street photographer and you're dying to answer that? So in that sentence, like is anything you want to say and nobody has asked you in street photography?
I don't think hasn't asked me any question which I don't want to answer, or which I'm dying to answer. But let me think. This is the question which nobody's asked me. So you've asked me, so I'm answering it. So nobody's asked me this question, and I don't think there's any particular question which I'm looking
What's
for.
the secret of your beard?
My beard.
That's a question no one asked.
All right. My
No, I
beard,
have another question.
It's my
Ayush,
Punjabi
hold
genes.
on. Romanji, can you come in? Roman Shah? Roman? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here, Subodh.
Okay,
Subodh,
please.
Vineet, November 2017, Subodh had brought you in one of our hotel rooms, and one of the best inspirational lines that I heard: "Learn to kill your own babies."
Right.
I hope that you use in one of your books, because it is very nice when we as shutterbugs go on shooting 1,000 photos a day, only to realize that only one or two are good. But one question which I had was, we had a walk along the Varanasi Ghat almost for an hour with you, Vineet. There was a map of India on the Ghat which was lit by diyas. You wanted to shoot that map with diyas, but there is a lot of commotion around that place, a lot of children running amok. And you had gently, I use the word gently, shouted at them, "Guys, I want to shoot. Just can we clear it?" And the guys cleared it, and you got a very good shot. And I was wondering that I am not able to do something like that in street photography. I can never do that. How does one get that?
Have you seen that shot anywhere?
No.
I've never used that shot. It was so there was certain I was experimenting. It was a new Leica body which I was trying to work out and see whether it works with that light or not. I would never shoot in the night. You will hardly see any pictures from the night. Even Dev Deepavali, the images you will never see. The lights or the candles kinds of a shot from me. I don't shoot. I just shoot at ISO 800, and if it goes beyond that, I hardly shoot it. And coming to that, I don't know how that happened. I don't. I fondly remember that we were together. That's true, but I don't remember that moment per se. But if I have spoken to somebody in that particular moment, I would take the shot, but I will never show it. I will never show a shot where I've spoken or communicated with somebody. I do, it's not that I don't take shots where I don't tell people to do, because I do commercial work as well. But I will never use it in my street photography job. That's beyond my ethics.
Okay.
I mean, your persona has been quite strong, and that's the reason where I felt that how could you connect this?
Really?
I mean, believe me, Vineet, your persona is definitely strong. You are very strong in your words, you're very strong in your work also. But then the crowd definitely cleared off. The crowd
Really?
cleared
I
off
don't
that
remember.
place.
You know me. I'm just 5 feet nothing. Anybody can come in. And I'm not strongly built. People can just hit me anywhere.
Tomorrow,
but I don't know if that. I don't know if that happened.
Tomorrow we'll send Vineet on streets of Delhi to clear the streets a bit.
Yeah, I've been doing that from past month. Come and see it. It's all clean.
Coming to next question from Tarakesh.
Yeah.
Tarakesh.
Yeah, I'm here. Good evening, Vineet sir.
Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. I have one question. We have been taught all these years that a brand or a gear is not important. You shoot with any brand, Nikon or Canon or anything.
Absolutely.
You just concentrate on your
Absolutely.
photography. But still, I have a question to you. Being an Leica ambassador, can you tell us how Leica helps you to have an added advantage in your photography?
Added advantage. See, photography. It's end of the day. All right. Let's put it like this. I feel Leica fits into my hands much better than any other camera. So tools are not important. I totally agree. But if it's a good tool and if it fits you, if it understands your need, now let's say if I'm using some other brand, I don't want to name any other brands, but if I'm using XYZ brand and I feel that I have to change the ISO, then I have to go into the damn menu to look for where the ISO is. Or if I have to work with the aperture, then I have to work with the aperture. Then I'll miss the shot. And the interface of the camera, I would say the camera understands me much better. So this particular camera, which I understand, which I'm using, it understands me rather than me understanding the camera. And it is also the form. It feels that it is, it's an extension of me. I would say it's like when you go to give an exam, you always have this favorite pen, which you feel that makes you write the exam much faster. And when we were kids, I also used to feel that particular pen, if I don't know the answer, the pen will know the answer. So I've started feeling that Leica at times knows the picture before I even press it. So it's just that. But at the same time, it's very sad also that we never ask any of the chef when he makes the dish that which microwave are you using, sir? And we, as photographers, we keep saying, which gear are you using? But I'm very fond of Leica, and I'm really enjoying that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Manasa, can you come in?
Yeah.
Hi, Manasa.
Hi. I wanted to know from you, because as photographers, we go shoot a lot of pictures. How do you assess which image of yours is a good picture and which is a bad picture? Like when I come back home, when I take some shots, I really find a tough time to analyze which picture is the best and which picture is the bad. So how do you judge your images?
So if you will hear your own answer, then you will have the answer. You said that when I go back and look at my images, then I feel that this image was not as good when I shot it. Now, when you shoot something, let it marinate. Let it marinate for a while. We are living in a world, all of us, we take a picture and the second thing we want to do is upload it. But I would say get detached from the moment, because when we shoot something which is unfolding in front of us, the memory of that image is very fresh when you're taking it. And when we go back, we feel that we saw so many things, but it is not showing in the picture. So if you leave that picture alone for, let's say, 15 days, and then you look at the pictures which you shot, then you will also read the elements which you didn't see it in the first place. So let them marinate. Don't worry about just taking or looking at the pictures instantly.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
We'll just take last two questions because it's been a very long session for Vineet, unfortunately, or fortunate for us.
Fortunately.
For you. Coming to Kirti.
Hi, Vineet.
Hi, Kirti. Hi again.
So I've seen on your Instagram you have a set of 2 images, and I don't know if you can have it up, Subodh.
No, I don't have it here.
Yeah, so you have posted a post which has 2 images, one image at the top, one image at the bottom, and so there was this woman who was wearing a red sari, and in the below image there was a polythene which had
I remember that shot. Yes.
Yeah. So what is the when you post images, 2 set of images in one post, what's the reason behind it besides the connection, or are you trying to convey something?
No, so there are times when you feel that your one image is not getting you enough likes, then you post 2.
Or Vineet bhai,
No,
if I can add, is this the new kind of juxtapositioning happening in streets now?
See, I feel that split image is something which one tries out, but there are a lot of people, there are a lot of photographers who are doing photo montage. So it is also stitching instead of split imaging is also to me it is also connections, where one moment connects with the other. But if I have to crop that image in a certain way so that it fits with the other image, then it is photo montage, then it is not a split image.
That's right.
It is not so I'm not very happy with it. I tried it out, just like when there's new fashion and you try it out, it was just that.
Yeah.
And
but
I
in your
understand
case,
that I can't
it's
do it.
2 images which play together without being
Yeah,
cropped.
it is more of playing it is not about photo montage where you stitch images together just to make them look, because I see a lot of photographers, what they're doing is they're stitching images just to make them look very weird or suddenly very good. But I feel that if your one image can't do that much, then you use 2 images. It is just that.
Coming to the last question of the day, which is from Amit.
Hi Vineet, good evening.
Hi Amit, good evening.
How are you?
Very well, Amit.
I'm sure you must be tired by now.
No, not at all. Go ahead.
Okay, a small question. What would your hit to miss ratio be in your day-to-day work? Like if you're shooting for a day, what many number of photographs would you keep and how many number of photographs you would like discard?
Wow, there are times when I go without an image for a week yet. It is there's no hit rate. The more you start shooting, the more strict you become with your own self. Your hit rate becomes lesser and lesser because end of the day, all you have to do is make a better image than your last time, and it's becoming a struggle. How to just outdo yourself, that is a problem. So I would say there are days when you'll probably come back with 2-3 images, and then there could be weeks when you don't come back with an image. Like right now, it's been literally after Holi, I haven't been able to go out shooting. So these are images which are, I would say, rather than days, these are images which are wasted.